Hi, welcome back. So today we are going to do crab Rangoon. And one thing to know about crab Rangoon is that it's not really an Asian dish. It's actually was made up. But since it's available in so many Asian restaurants, let's do it. So let's start over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use wonton wrappers as the wrapper. And what I've done here is I've used egg roll wrappers and I cut them into quarters. And if you do that, what you'll do is you'll end up with about a third more wrappers, which is kind of cool. It's a deal. And our ingredients are really simple. So cream cheese is one of the ingredients, and this is a thing that is not Asian. There's no cream cheese in Asian cooking. But you can use plain cream cheese, or if you want, you can pick up flavored cream cheese. So this one here is garlic and herb. You can get onion. You can even get salmon flavored cream cheese with, bagels and lox. But we're going to use garlic and herb today, and we'll kind of amp that up with some other ingredients. Crab meat, and if you're going to, ideally fresh crab meat it would be the best. But if you're going to buy crab meat that's been canned, I like to use the kind that's in the refrigerated case as opposed to just the canned crab meat. And this crab meat is much fresher. It doesn't have as many other preservatives and things like that in it. So, but you do have to keep it refrigerated. So this is an 8 ounce. So I'm going to put this right in our bowl. There we go. And this is crab claws. Claw meat. If you like it a little bit more defined, you can use what's called lump crab meat, which is the legs. This is the claw. All right, and you can use other types of seafood as well. So there's absolutely nothing wrong. If you're here in Maine, one of the things you might use is you might use lobster, or you could also use fish. So we'll mix this in, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to, as I mentioned, we're going to amp this up a little bit, and we are going to put in some crushed garlic, fresh garlic. So we'll take it and we'll just smash that, and we'll put that in. Maybe one more. What's nice about doing the garlic this way is that it will release a lot of the flavor, but it will give you some nice pieces of garlic as well. So we'll mix that. I found that if the cream cheese is close to room temperature, it's a lot easier to mix it. And we're going to put in a little bit of soy sauce as well. It's like a teaspoon. If you want to make this spicy, you could put in a little sriracha or pepper oil, but we'll take it easy. We'll take it easy on Joan today. All right. Now the thing is, you're going to be really spoiled when you make this at home because they don't use as much crab in a restaurant. They're going to use a lot of cream cheese. but this one's going to be mostly crab. The other thing I'm going to do, which is not in the recipe, is I'm going to put in some fresh basil. And if you have other herbs like chives or sage or oregano, you know, something you're growing, feel free to put that in so you can customize. All right. So let's talk about folding. So we'll take a wrapper, and I like to use the baseball metaphor here, and you got home plate first, second, third, pitcher's mound. And what we'll do is we'll cover pitcher's mound with a large teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon. Anyway, fill that right up. And the simplest thing to do is to take home plate, bring it up to second base, make an isosceles triangle. And there you have a crab rangoon. Now it's really a good idea once you make these to let them dry a little bit. If they're wet, when you put them into the hot oil, they can puff up. They won't explode, but they'll puff up a little bit. So let's do a different fold. Run those bases. The water is the glue. I'll just put that right up there. We'll make our triangle. But this time we're going to make a scoop. And the way we'll do that is we'll take the corners of the isosceles triangle and we'll wrap it around my finger and we'll just press that. And you can kind of see that this will scoop up some sauce that we might have. And here's another fold. By the way, it's perfectly okay just to eat that crab rangoon filling. Or you could use it as a dip. And then we'll do that. And then what we'll do is we'll fold it like a tortellini. So we'll just push down, make a little divot here. We'll push straight up, and then we'll cross them straight up, just like that. Makes a kind of a little dumpling there for the tortellini. But wait, that's not all. We'll do a pinwheel, which is kind of fun. They all start the same way. All right, so what we'll do for the pinwheel is we'll start out at the corners. And we'll push those together. Just like that. So you can choose whether you want although it's not that easy to do, you can have them so that they stand up, or you can lay them down so they look like a pinwheel, just like that. All right, and I'll show you one more because I think our oil is heated up. So we'll put in, there we go. Ooh, that might be a little bit too much. You don't want to put in so much that you can't close it. All right, paint those edges. Now instead of the pinwheel, what we'll do is we'll make kind of a square purse. We'll bring all the corners into the center, just like that, and then we'll seal it. So you can leave those sticking up, or like the pinwheel, you could fold them over and flatten them out. I'll leave this up. There we go. All right. So that's several ways to fold them. What you can do with the video, obviously, is you can rewind it and stop it if you want to see some more there, or if you need to review it. So let's go over to the oil, and we want to make sure that the oil is hot enough before we put things in. So I've got a wok here. If you need to, you can use a shallow fry pan. This is a rack, a draining rack, which you can pick up in a kitchen store. And I've got about a ½ inch of oil in the wok. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this chopstick, wooden chopstick, into the oil, and if it bubbles, then it's hot enough. If it just kind of sits there and it's lazy bubbles, then we could get it hotter. But we'll put that in there, and you can see that that's bubbling pretty vigorously. All right, and that's what you want, because you don't want it to, you don't want these to sit in there too long, because they'll get oily. So what we'll do is we're going to test one. So these that I'm going to be testing on, these I made earlier, so they're dried out a little bit. So what's nice about the wok is you can just kind of, rather than dropping it in the middle, you can just slide it in. And you can see it starts to cook right away, and we'll push that in. And what we want to do is we want to see if it turns brown around the edges. As soon as it does that, we're going to flip it over. And that was, what, maybe 3 or 4 seconds. So we know that it's not going to sit in the oil for a long time. So let's do this one here. And you can put in more than one at a time, as long as you kind of keep track. So see, it's brown around the edges here. So we'll just flip that over. And this is brown around the edges, and we'll flip that over. By the time I flip this one over, this one's ready to take out. See, it's golden brown. We'll put that right on the rack. We'll put this on the rack. If you're not comfortable with chopsticks, you can certainly just use some tongs. So we'll slide that in. We'll slide that in. Okay, we're going to live on the edge here. We're going to put them all in. So we'll try to keep track. So this one here. Whoa, there we go, come on. Turning over, there we go. Okay, see, here's a good example. See how it puffed up? So this one was soft. We hadn't dried out. So it puffed up a little bit. We'll flip this one over. And you'll notice that because I put several in, it cools the oil down. So if you cook a lot of them, you can kind of relax a little bit because they won't cook quite as fast. But you still want to pay attention. There we go. All right, so this was the dry one. That looks kind of cool. There we go. And I can kill the heat on those. So you can make these up in advance. You can serve them at room temperature, which is fine. All right. So let's let those rest for a minute. Let's go back over here and I'll talk a little bit about making a dipping sauce. A really simple one. So with crab rangoons, you will generally have a spicy and sweet sauce. So our spicy will come from sriracha. Think of it as a spicy ketchup. And our sweet will come from honey. And I'm going to put equal parts of honey and sriracha. There we go. And you can adjust that based on your own kind of personal taste. And then we'll just mix that together. If you want, you could substitute maple syrup. Molasses would be good. And if you don't want it spicy, you can use ketchup, or you could use your favorite barbecue sauce with the honey. All right, I'm gonna taste test this. Yum. All right. Ooh, a little hot. So let's take. I'll take this basic one, just for fun. All right. And so we'll just. Good way to eat crab meat. So there you have it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.